All right.
And we off. Here it is, another episode of PAVEDOT Positive Podcast. I'm the president of PAVEDOT, Marqus Davis. I am sitting here with Ben Neville. I got you right?
That's right, yeah.
What's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for saying my name right. Nobody ever gets it right.
Because I kind of threw it out there. I was just like, Neville, you just told me. You know what I mean?
I get a lot of Neville.
Yeah, because I'm not even looking at it. I'm not even that kind of thinker, man. And that's a good thing about my creativity.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think we're going to vibe well. We're going to have a great show on this positive podcast. We talk about life. And the best thing about life is overcoming adversity, you know? And the best way to overcome adversity is staying positive. And the best way to stay positive is knowing your purpose. So that's a lot right there. It's a mouthful. I'm going to spend a lot of time. I just want to talk to you and we can just go into your vision of, we can even start just about how we met each other. Well, you had a camera in your hand.
Yeah. So I was filming. What was the name of the place? Evolve.
Evolve.
I was at a Christmas party at Evolve, and I'm a filmmaker. So, and I also do social media marketing for people, videos and photos. And I'm always that guy that nobody really wants to be around. And my man Marcus was sitting there, and I was tired of filming, so we just started talking, and instantly he brought up his podcast, and I talked about mine and everything we were doing, man. And it was a good positive vibe right away, right off the gate.
Appreciate it. It is, man. So you attracted that. You weren't just sitting there, man. You attracted that positive energy. It was because you were doing a film on Mr. Bartender.
Yeah. I do his promotional videos for him.
Yeah, man. So. What's your business? How long have you been working together?
He and I have been working together, I'd say about 8 months now. Yeah,
man, it's a good relationship, man. He's very professional, clean. I really enjoyed that whole experience from the liqueurs. Did I say that right?
Liqueurs?
Oh, I thought it was fancy. It was real fancy, man.
I don't actually drink, so I don't know. And his drinks are dangerous.
I had the whiskey. He's gonna be mad because he told me what it was.
No, he's not, because I got you covered, man. I'm editing the video right now.
Oh yeah, so look at that.
So the whiskey one was the Palmberry Mary Martini, and then the vodka one was the Jolly Jack Frost.
Yeah, I didn't want to mix. I just wanted a little taste of it.
In your defense, you would never remember the names of those drinks.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Because they're all custom made.
They are, and you got to have Mr. Bartender to get you there. Yeah, and that's where we are really with everything. What makes you so important is because you're telling stories. Yeah, you get me. So I want to tell a little bit about if you can let us know your vision of what's your filmmaking vision.
So I do. I focus on documentaries. So, and actually, the night that I met Marcus, I had. The next day, I was releasing a Santa Claus documentary about a man in Jacksonville, North Carolina, who is a professional Santa Claus. And when I sat down with him, I was like, man, I walked into the guy's house. I was like, this guy could be crazy. I don't know. And by the time I left, I'd cried 4 times. I had laughed. And he was he was one of the most positive, inspirational people I'd ever met.
See, you attracted that energy,
He
man.
just wanted it. You know, he wanted to make people happy. Yeah. And that's kind of been my whole goal, because if a lot of people watch documentaries, they watch real inflammatory, like, that guy's doing something bad, or like real crime and stuff like that. Now, I don't want to necessarily just tell positive stories, but I want to tell a story that could encourage people.
Yeah. Because
you know what I mean?
At the same time, just like I was saying about success and identifying life, I feel that way, and that's why I want to do the podcast too. Because if you look around, if you compare your situation to somebody else's, but it's positive in everything. Yeah, you know what I mean. And he's focusing on it. And once you got those energies around you that's focusing on that, you're gonna bring it out. And so you have the choice to do with your camera what you know. Yeah, I mean, I have a choice to tell a story the way. When I was doing the Santa Claus story, another director friend of mine, Jaden Frost, he turned me on to him. He's a horror film director, and he's like, man, I don't do documentary, but we work closely together on each other's stuff. And he was like, check this guy out. So he produced it for me, which kind of means he oversighted the whole thing. That's what a producer does. I directed it. For sure. No, we need all of those basics, because you gotta, if you break it baby steps for us to tell us about the producer, everything that goes into a film, that's even more enlightening.
Because people don't know what goes into making a film. Yeah. But I had 3 stories within that interview I had with Santa, and he had talked about in one point how, when he takes photos, he has to put both of his hands in the photo, because there was a Santa at one point that was accused of touching a child. And like, that was my partner's, he wanted to hear that story.
For sure.
But I didn't want to tell that story. That's not a Christmas story.
Yeah.
That's like, you
gossip.
know. Yeah.
And that's sales, and that's what's interesting.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm interested in. I wanted to make people feel good. You know, and I wanted to tell his story. Just like I want to tell other people's stories. So, you know, within that frame of, I interviewed him for 3 hours. I ended up having, in all reality, 3 30-minute movies. But I narrowed it down to one movie. So
yeah. So it was a lot of time. How much time do you think goes into making a project, such as a documentary?
That 30-minute documentary took us about 6 weeks at about 4 to 6 hours a day.
4 to 6 hours a day, and you said we. Now, is a contract made? It's like when I you know how they roll the credits at the end of a movie and it shows all the lines of everybody that was in it.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's no. What it is it depends on who's working on it. So like, and when I work on it, I'll say, hey, I want you to do my sound. I want you to do this and that, and then I'll either make deals with people, or a lot of times we just help each other out, and then if we make money.
Oh, that's
then,
that if part.
Yeah, that's that if.
Yeah.
Then we can, we'll square up afterwards. But that's the way a lot of this stuff is you help each other out.
Yeah.
We want to help each other succeed because we're all struggling to kind of, especially when you're in a creative space.
True.
It's hard. So, and you know that.
Oh, yeah. I try to think positively about it. I'm never in the struggle. I'm in the working through phases. I took a coaching position this year. It was coaching middle schoolers, and that's the thing too. Adversity, man, to every corner. But it's what I asked for to build and coach past that. Yeah. So just keep your mind on your eye on the prize.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is the whole time I can't sit there and think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make any money.
Yeah, like.
I'm thinking about telling this guy's story in a positive way. I want to think about the people that are watching it, how it can encourage them, especially in a time where we live now where Christmas has kind of lost its flavor per se. We got to take the Christmas out of the schools and this, that, and the other. And it's not really about that. It's just about that feeling, bringing happy and joy to people. And that's what I wanted to do with this particular film.
It is.
And we're doing it. Well, just a shameless plug. It's called Portrait of a Santa Claus, but we're doing a portrait series. So we're finding people that we find interesting and we tell their story, people that have a success or maybe even a failure and how they've overcome it, because everybody has a story. Even anybody listening to this, you have a story, and people want to hear stories. That's what they do. You just don't realize it. And
that's when they can hit up Ben and let's get a documentary done.
Or we might even do one on Marcus. You never know.
I was going when you was telling the story, I was like, you ain't even gonna add that part about you told me we was gonna do a documentary.
You said we do. I mean, that's what we do, and we're doing one on Paul because he's one of the most positive people that I've ever met.
Yeah, and for me, why I would think the importance of showing a documentary is about legacy. And if you got a chance to tell your story, you go ahead and tell it and get it out here. It's the same way with anybody that's creative, like a poet, a musician, any kind of art that you create, artists.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about.
You got an eye for it. I have a cousin, he does the active shooters, and his vision with sports, man, his eye for stuff like that is just...
Wait, what do you mean active shooter?
Active shooters...
I know, what an active shooter is.
Yeah. No.
Oh, no, not like an active... Okay.
No, he's an active videography shooter.
Oh, okay.
It's sports highlights. Sports highlights. Yeah.
See,
you gotta
that's
check
totally
it out.
different beast than I do.
Yeah,
hook me up, man. I love to watch that stuff.
Oh man, he did my son highlight tape when he was 8.
Oh yeah,
and he made it look nice. Got the music, got the slow mos, and he's evolving. His technology, the stuff that I know you know all about, equipment.
Yeah, I mean it's not. But see, the thing is, and this is what people don't understand is it's not all about your equipment. So there's a movie that's out. It's an indie film which is called independent, which basically means that Fox or Sony or Disney doesn't support you. You just kind of make your movie, and it's called Tangerine. Okay, it's not for kids. Just go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
But if you watch this movie, the guy made the movie on an iPhone. Solely on an iPhone. And it looks great. And the whole message is just use what you got.
Use
we
what
all
you
have
got.
cameras in our pockets, man. You learn what you have to work with, and then you learn it to the best of your ability.
So what makes the movie though? What makes the movie?
Story.
The story.
It's all about the story.
It's all about
and the sound.
Yeah, and then communicating the story, because you can have the story, but they have to understand what you're saying.
Yeah. People were watching movies. I mean, how many people go back and watch a movie from the 80s? What's the old? Have you watched like Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, the arm wrestling movie? You watch that?
Listen, no.
You never seen that?
No, what I'm saying, I don't go back and watch any.
But you should go back and watch it.
Yeah,
but the story is what makes the movie good. You know, like Star Wars.
Yes.
It's 1977. People still go back and watch that movie.
You're right. No, it is classic. Yes, yes.
It is a classic, but the picture looks like garbage compared to what we have now. They didn't have 8K cameras or whatever, so
I agree.
You know,
they didn't.
But we still watch it, and that's the thing. It's the story that sells. So
you would say, what about those movies that have all of that extra 3D camera, you know, special effects, and they don't have a good story?
Oh, I see it all the time.
That's what you mostly see.
That's what you see a lot of, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what got me. You just had to ask about movies. I was like, man, I'm not a movie watcher that much anymore.
Oh, you're not?
I think I watch more television series. I'll keep up with those.
Well, see, and television is a movie. Yeah. It's just a 13-hour movie.
Exactly. I want to. Yeah, I definitely.
And that's shameful to me because people watch the movie. You watch 13-hour movies. 13 episodes is what they get paid for, right? You ever watch that and all of a sudden there's an episode and you're like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
That is an hour of a movie that was just a waste because they had to fill time.
Yeah.
Like, you ever watch Luke Cage? The TV show on Netflix?
Yeah. Sometimes I watch some of them.
And the second season, there was like 2 episodes like that. And I was like, man, because that was a great show.
It was a great show. It was a great show, but it was like one of those, if you were describing the acting mode in it, it was too like...
Yeah. But Luke Cage is the sexiest black man I've ever seen.
Hey. The old, what was the old Batman TV shows?
Oh, back in the day?
Yeah, they used to, boom, and got all the, I felt like it was like that. It had that whole feel to it. So I got into it, some of it, and then some of it was too
everybody.
Yeah, some of it was a little too cheesy for me. Netflix, I did enjoy the Orange is the New Black. That was a good one.
I haven't seen that.
You never seen? Okay.
It was a little too much in the first episode.
Because it was like, I was like, man, I'm over here. I'm not saying yeah to anything that you have movie wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Friday Night Tights? I think that was on there.
Friday Night Lights?
Tight, like tiny tights, little guys. Yeah. Sports one. I'm missing you right now. Raising Dion.
Oh, dude, Raising Dion was amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
It was.
It was amazing on multiple levels.
Well, go ahead. We'll talk a level then.
Okay, well, first of all, the graphics in it were crazy. So I'm just going to go ahead and just talk about it, and if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Turn it off. Give me a second.
But when the fish came out of the water, right? This is the first episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, check it out, baby. I was talking to my wife, and she was like, yeah, that's cool. And then she was like, but they're not going to be able to breathe. And then they took the effort to put the water around the fish. I was like, that's how you should do it.
That's how you should do it.
Yeah. And then the fact that like I'm not into social justice warrior stuff. That's not my thing. But the fact that like the main character was like, the black child in the family, I really like that because I feel like there's not a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like Luke Cage had it, but as a whole, it's not really a lot. And I just thought it was like really good, like the way they did it, but the message about it wasn't like in your face, because we all know that there is an issue.
Yeah.
But like in Marvel movies and Star Wars, like now they're doing the woman thing.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's a little too much where it takes away from the story, but they did it beautifully where it was all integrated into one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like this overarching message that was like weighted you down and took you out of the story. It was beautifully done show. And I think it's very underrated.
And you know what I was thinking when you were saying all of that? And I said that you were saying you was making some great points about imagery and what they want to portray. It goes back to what we were saying about when you're the storyteller or the director, right?
Yeah.
You pick what angle you want to go at.
Yeah. Well, there's a director and the writer.
Well, the writer and the director.
But a lot of times they're the one and the same. So.
Yeah, I was about to say because if you wrote a story you have to agree to direct it, or you just want a certain type of director. How does that go?
Sometimes, like, if I write the story, like, well, I write and direct for the most part. I have not had the opportunity to write for a director. I don't think I would do that. But, like, if you write a movie and you want to tell it a certain way, then there's certain directors that can tell it in a certain way. So, like, Stanley Kubrick would tell a story in a very specific way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you, like, 2001 Space Odyssey, Full Metal Jacket, all that stuff. You know, he was known for certain things and certain feelings. So, like, in, like, Michael Bay, you know, he's known for, like...
Quentin
Tarantino?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
all
you
his
know...
movies look...
They're amazing.
So if I wrote a story, I'll say, look, you got to direct it. Like if I was about to talk about football, I still want him to get in there. There'd be some head blessing.
Yeah, there'd be some bloody heads. But if I was going to write a football movie, I'd contact the guy who did Rudy back in the day.
Yeah, that was a good storyline.
Dude, that was the best. That was the best. That was, I mean, because I don't play sports necessarily, but like sports movies are really good.
Yeah, but
and
it's
they're very
cliche
like,
though. It comes cliche a little bit.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does.
Are those storylines harder to uphold?
I would imagine. I mean, it would be really hard for me because I've never really like... I've played team sports, but I don't enjoy playing as a team. I'm more of a, like we were talking earlier, I'm an endurance sport person, running, surfing, you know, I do a lot of like independent style sports where you're competing against, well, you're overarching competing with everybody, but really it comes down to competing with yourself.
Yeah.
And the goals that you set for yourself.
Yeah. You do that in team sports too. Because you're making a sacrifice. True. You know, and you're doing it for your teammates, so you got to deal with a lot of stuff. You got to deal with pressures.
That's true.
You have to deal with, like I said, letting your teammates down. It is an individual in every team sport. Yeah. To make it go. Yeah. You know, but it's other factors that way.
There's a lot of other factors involved in that. So like, you know, it's an interesting path when you do that kind of stuff. And you know, for me, like, I never enjoyed baseball. Yeah. It was really boring to me. And football scared me because I went to military school when I was a kid. And I remember we were really bad. So they were like, you're going out and you're playing full tackle football, no pads. And one of the guys got kneed in the face and his eye just exploded. And I was like, I'm done. Exactly. I'm good.
It ain't for everybody.
No, it ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? Nah. But then I learned that I like to suffer, meaning when it's really hot, I go run. I go backpacking for 5 days straight, you know, hiking. And you really learn a lot about yourself. And I think that's for me is learning about myself and what I can handle.
And say like you're going backpacking or you going for a run with a friend. It's different when you're by yourself, right? That's the part I'm talking about. Like, so if you can go backpacking and you're competing within each other, you're getting out. You're bringing out a different animal in yourself as well.
Yeah, like when we went backpacking last year, there's 3 of us that went, and we all work together, meaning you don't leave anybody behind. You know, if somebody's get too much, you got to carry somebody's stuff at some point. You know, my buddy, I really hope you're listening to this, Luke. Yeah. The first day, he was like, oh, my hip. He was like, you're going to have to get airlifted. So, but we started taking some of his stuff to relieve the weight. You know, we helped each other out.
Got him. So, he's saying, look, we know. We know. Well, he went up there with just a 10 on his back. That's all I can carry, guys.
Next time it ain't gonna be that way.
So how you feeling up there, Ben? You all right? Let's take a break.
Yeah, let's take a breather.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, all of that. Getting back to these movies though, for sure, because I really want to know. I really want to know in that process of making movies, what role do you enjoy? Like why would you recommend the next person to do it, or even support your brand of movies?
Well, I mean,
because we're gonna start with just movies. I know you do a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I enjoy creating. You know, I enjoy the part of dreaming about a story. You know, a lot of times that's literally how they come to you in a dream for me. And a lot of people in my position, I hear the same things. But then I enjoy putting it together and telling that story visually. So, like, creating a feeling. You know, like what angle lens to use on somebody's face if they're scared. You know, or if you want to create an emotion for an audience, you know, how long to let it pause when a powerful story's been told, or what kind of music to put in at that exact time.
Oh, music.
Or the volume. Music makes it all. Let me take
you off a topic again.
Go ahead.
But no, it's not really off a topic because I want to know when you're pairing up these songs, like Can you just pick any catalog of songs, or do you think about it? And you're a professional, right?
Right.
You're gonna go copyright and all that other good stuff, or can you just substitute some things?
No, you have to go through and get movie songs that are not copyrighted. They're what's called Creative Commons or royalty free. And now what we have now, because video is taking over everything, what we have now is we have companies that will come out and say, hey, you can use our music. You have to pay us a monthly fee, but you can use our music for, some of them will say anything. Some of them will have like only online stuff. And like the place I use, they say you can use it for movies, which was really big because the place I was using before, like I paid them a monthly fee. And then I was like, look, I'm recording. Like we're currently in production in a documentary about gardening. And I was like, I want to use some music. What's the process for that? It's like, oh, it's $500 a song. A song. And I was like, man, I pay y'all every month. So this other company is like, yeah, just use whatever you want. You just have to like fill out the paperwork for it.
And you said monthly or?
It's a monthly fee for me. I think I pay like $12 a month.
Yeah, but you're a frequent user.
I'm a frequent user. I use it all the time, every day. I mean, before you came over here, I was sitting here for 2 hours listening to music, trying to figure out the one song.
The one song for the one moment to tell the story.
But in their return, in the credits, I put them in the credits of the movie.
For sure.
Right? So that's kind of the point of it. And it's a tragedy that, like, if you hear a good song, you can't use a portion of that song. Like, what's the point? You're advertising for them.
You hear a summertime song, right? You got your summertime music.
Yeah.
And you want to hear those drums and those.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking of a song in my head. I don't want to sing it because we didn't get copyright.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't want to take the podcast.
See, and I don't know how that works either. Yeah. So you got to be careful.
That's why
you can find certain things, and it's like, it's funny because I was doing a video for somebody when I first started, and he's like, I want to open up with the Star Wars theme. And then I want the Rocky theme.
We want the best.
And I was like, man, that's $60,000 just for the song if you're lucky. I don't even know. That's just a number I pulled out, but I've heard hundreds of thousands of dollars, for this stuff. And I was like, you can't do that. People don't understand that though. So, I mean, I put and this is how important it is. Like I put a video on YouTube. Or not YouTube, on Facebook, and within I think 30 minutes we had 6,000 views and likes, and then it got pulled because of copyright, because the client told me I want this song no matter what. So it got pulled. So then I went back and I got it, and I think I used no lyrics or something, which is just the beat of the song, and it was like a country song, which I don't like anyways, but ended up having, like, I think 3 years later it has 500 views. Like, it was on its way of going viral.
Yeah.
And then it stopped because the client would not listen. So, because, it's really hard to do that. So you just wasted all that. You could have had a really powerful thing. And that could have taken my career to a new level years ago. I don't know.
You got to learn from those mistakes.
But you learn from those mistakes.
So you learn from that one.
And you don't give up. So now when I talk to a client, I say, look, you don't get to pick the song. I'll send you some options if you want, but you can't listen to it on the radio and ask for it. It doesn't work that way. You can give me a feeling, a vibe. I want rock. I want, techno. I want EDM, R&B, country, R&B, rap, hip hop, whatever. So.
Okay. Well, that was good.
Yeah. I mean, but it's tricky. So like even for you, like this service that I use, you can, find a song and use it. And then it does that. So
that's the same one I have on mine on my laptop. I have one that I use, and I just use their music because I figured it's on this site. I thought about downloading it.
Yeah, no, don't do that. It don't take but a second, because now they've got it real quick where it's like instantly they'll find it and then just rip it down. And then it's like all that work, man. It's just it sucks.
It's all good. The next project will be 10 times better.
That's right.
Just don't take any money.
And you learn the lesson. Yeah, you just learn your lesson. And that's the important part. When you do something like that and you fail, you have to just learn and pick up and just say, you know what, I got it. I won't do that again, but I'm gonna improve this way.
Yeah, like you were saying, back to what you were saying about the line we were going in. I know I got you off of there with the music, but using different lenses for bringing out characteristics in the person.
Different feelings and stuff.
Yeah. That's
like if you want to create like a worried loneliness feeling, you would use like a wide angle lens with somebody by themselves with a bunch of like free space around them, like dead space, and that will create that because it's not doesn't compress their face as much, so it gives that feeling of like panic.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
because it'll change the shape of your face.
I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. I got you put a visual in my head. You putting it all together for me. Well, I look forward to us, working together and continuing. The documentary coming soon, Marqus Davis, The Life and Stories of Marqus Davis.
Currently in production.
Yeah, currently in production. I know we're going to wrap it up here. Or like you said, it could be a part 2. Because did we get to we didn't really end it on your passion of why you're doing it. We pursuing somebody to it.
No, we can do a part 2.
Yeah. To be continued on it.
Yeah, we can continue. Yeah. Or we can go now. I don't care.
Well, go ahead, go real quick.
What you got?
I
got time?
Yeah. I said about 2:15 I was gonna be out of here. Got to go get the little one up from school.
Okay.
That's a little journey.
I feel that pain.
On it. Yeah,
I feel that pain.
Yeah. I don't want him to be that little kid at the bus stop. Where's my dad? My dad just
Yeah, that was me when I was a kid. I got left a couple times.
Yeah. But it builds you. It makes you tough. Matter of fact, you know what? I got a little time, man. He need to be tougher.
Yeah, it's true. It does make you tougher, and that's a problem we have now. Is everybody's so coddled, and you're starting to see that. And I know it was like, "Shut up, boomer." That's what they say, But it's like, come on, man. It's serious. Like, you need to figure it out. You need to get in a tight spot and figure out how to get out of it.
Oh,
and I'm not talking about like you ran from the cops because you was selling drugs, tight spot. I'm talking about like you're trying to do something. You're trying to create. This video when you walked and you came in. Like, I have all of this. I have like, it's supposed to be a 2-minute video, and I have 58 seconds of it on there. But I have this one clip at a minute that I want everything to match up to. And I have to worry about the pacing for it. So then I have to figure out that problem and how to make it happen. And this is also an event. So it's not like a movie where I can say, okay, we need to reshoot.
Yeah.
What I got is what I got.
Yeah.
I got to make it work.
You got to be creative.
Yeah, you've got to be creative and make it happen.
So you ever got halfway through a project and say, man, I got to go another angle?
Oh, yeah. Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Santa Claus.
You had to go on. Yep.
And I mean, this feature length, which feature length means a 90-minute movie that we're filming, we were supposed to be done right now. And the story's changed 4 times already. And we had something come up, and I was like, we're going to have to wait another year. We have to drag it out a little bit longer because otherwise the story wouldn't end right.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, and that's the part that I like, though. I like the fact that, like, I have a message with this is like, just to break it down, it's a movie about backyard gardens where people are going to grow a garden for the first time. 2 families have never gardened, and they're going to grow food in a world that lacks nutrition, meaning they live by a food desert, or they want to save money, or, they just want to be more in touch on where their food comes from. So we're doing that. And
so this families that has you're tracking them, that has the cameras on them. Mm-hmm. They can only eat the food that they
No.
That'll make it a project then. Yeah, that's really like, this is all you can eat.
No, that's called a weight loss program, my friend.
What?
But what it is like, it's just how they can supplement their diets and create their own goals and what they want. If they came to me and they're like, man, I just want to have a potted tomato on my porch, then that's considered a garden. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. And because gardening is a passion of mine. My grandfather was a gardener, and then he died. And I just it's always lived on in me. And he was a very important person in my life. So it's kind of like a little bit of a story about him, but it's kind of just grown from there. And we had a point where we were like, look, we were going to end it. And I was like, you know what? We can't end it on this. We need to have a better story. The story. And when I say the better story, when you do documentary, my theory is you let it unfold. So the story is going to go no matter what.
True.
Unless you totally step in. And this is the part that I like, which I think is the question you were getting at, is that I made that decision to say, you know what, let's drag it out. Let's make it so it ends on a positive note I want to show people fail and recover and then talk about what they did so people can understand, because I feel like it's a daunting subject for you. Not for you, but for people in general.
I understood, yeah.
Well, I was looking like dead in the eye and said, for you.
Yeah,
I was like, no.
Yeah. I'm just listening. I'm over here. That is what we're here for.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And then that's what I love about this is that I get to make that decision and I get to tell that story, and I like to teach. Yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of teaching in it and stuff like that. But just to be able to say like, hey, this is how it went down. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a really powerful story for people.
And how can the people get in touch with you? Because you did say something to me before about finding gardeners. Yeah,
I was trying to find. I'm looking for a community garden in my area, So
in your area, would you consider it to
Southeast North Carolina?
Southeast North Carolina.
Got you. But well, anywhere from Raleigh east. So preferably Wilmington, because that would be great.
Yeah. We need some gardens in Wilmington too.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I actually know why there's not a lot of community gardens in the area.
Beach?
No.
Can you start a garden on the beach?
Well, I live pretty close to the water
I'm
here.
talking about on Riceville Beach.
If you brought in topsoil, you could maybe, but the salt air would be rough on it.
And the tides,
so, But I mean, like there's a lot of people that don't want to be involved in it. They don't want to take over. You know what I mean? But there comes a day when you're going to need to know how to garden. Did you eat salad over Thanksgiving? Romaine lettuce, to be exact. No,
not Thanksgiving. That was a cheat day.
Because for 2 Thanksgivings in a row, for 2 Thanksgivings in a row, romaine lettuce has been pulled off the shelf for listeria concerns. Well, every Thanksgiving, guess what we have growing in our garden? We can eat lettuce. So, like the first year,
so who's testing it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you test yours? Do you have to test it before you come out the yard?
No, because I don't water mine with pig poop. That's why they have the listeria and stuff like that, because they water with manure water.
Because I eat a lot of bagged lettuce.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder too, like, when did they find out?
Yeah.
Did I already buy it?
Oh, you already have been eating it, and then they found out.
Then they found it, then now I have a bag still in my refrigerator.
Yeah.
That's
so I don't know if it's been lifted at this point, but...
So I might need to talk to you too, because I do eat a lot of salad and lettuce. I'd rather grow my own lettuce.
Yeah, it's so easy, man. That's the thing. All you need is a pot and a seed and water and sun. That's it.
Pot, seed,
water, sun.
Water, sun.
That's it, man.
Lettuce
in
the backyard.
Lettuce. And you don't even have to have the seed. You can go to the Lowe's and get a 6-pack of seedlings, which is already grown, and then just let it grow in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's so easy, and people don't understand that. And it's, people need to, it's hard because you don't really know where to start. And we want to show you where to start. We want to show you how they started.
Yeah, and be there for us whenever we backtrack a little bit. Because, I might start growing my lettuce and be like, well, I spend 2 months now. Where's the lettuce?
Yeah.
How long does it take?
If you have a seedling that you buy from a store and you put in, in all reality, you could eat it that day, but you wouldn't get a lot. But if you let it grow for like a couple weeks as it gets bigger, then you can start harvesting the outside leaves of it.
True.
And and then it'll just keep growing, Okay. So, and I mean, if you want to know more about gardening, we have a podcast that goes along with the movie. It's called Backyard Gardens Podcast. And we kind of break down different sections of like...
throw that link up right here.
Yeah, we'll throw that up for you. And you can just kind of follow along with us. We talk about like how to preserve your own food, how to start a garden. I mean, the first episode, a lady on Instagram in New York City was asking about apartment gardening. So I just did an episode about how to grow in an apartment indoors,
Awesome.
And, we kind of listen to our community and people who need help, and we try and help them out, because in my profession, I guarantee you there's a more profitable way to have a podcast, but it's not a passion. It's not going to help people if I tell you how to make a movie.
But that growing and understanding this soil game.
Yeah. Yeah, because we went around, we got a bunch of experts talking in the movie and stuff. Man, I've learned so much just by listening to them.
I know.
It's crazy. And I'm humbled that these people, these experts from like State University and stuff would even come talk to me. And I'm like, look, I've never made a movie. I'm doing my first one. I've done a lot of like little 2-minute videos, like hundreds of them, but...
Man, that's what I feel about these podcasts. It's like... Or even when you're training and you're an elite, and I'm tied to sports because that's more my angle, but when you're talking to greats, they want to get this information off of their head.
They want to get it out.
They want to get it out. They want to get it out too, and if it's just about listening. You know what I mean? It ain't, and then having the courage to go up to them and say, "Hey, you want to come sit down on my podcast?" Yeah. Hey, I'm a professor that read thousands of books.
Well, you know why I like podcasts and documentaries? Because it can disseminate knowledge in a way that is not controlled by the state. Meaning that what you say, you do the research, and you can put more together yourself than your textbooks will show you. Now, that being said, and I tell everybody, when you watch a documentary or when you listen to a podcast, don't take it as gospel. Go do the research. Look it up yourself. If you have a question, look it up, but it will get you started.
Yes.
If you go back to like Christopher Columbus, like he wasn't the first here.
No,
you know what I mean? But that's what they teach you. And he wasn't the nicest person.
Still teaching that?
I think so.
I thought it was
it's
like
been a long time since I've been in
Webster.
school.
I feel like I feel like now some of the stuff they do, they be like, yeah, that wasn't true. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
I think it might not. Well, see, now I did used to live in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
How was it there? How was it there?
So let me tell you, on Thanksgiving there was riots every year.
Yeah, I bet.
So but that's the thing is you can learn from different ways. There's no stopping of the knowledge here. We can talk about things that the news won't talk about, or that people for Sony Pictures can't talk about because they don't want to get, they don't want to lose their sponsorship.
But that's what I say. It's all about the money too.
It's all about the money, man.
Not even gonna really judge them for playing that game, because at the end of the day, when you sit back and work your business plan, you always got to figure out an angle, and somebody's going to take it. Just because you are trying to get attraction for a certain reason, you might not be a bad person for trying to be the top, to stay relevant, you know. And people doing some as fast as the information coming out, they taking it and saying, oh, you know what?
Yeah. I mean, when in my previous life I was a marine biologist, and we actively saw information come across to people in which if they reported on it, like put it in a report or whatever, talked about it, then their job would not be as important. So that information would get buried. That data would not be seen. And that's the kind of stuff you deal with. But for me, if it's going to hurt you or it's not going to help you, then I'm willing to lose that.
Yeah.
Because that's the important. And I think that's what makes documentary filmmakers very special, is that they're willing to kind of cross that line.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? Like, I had somebody who wanted to sponsor the movie, and they're like, well, we're worried about how you're going to talk about it. And I was like, look, you're not going to tell me how to run it. Like, I can do it on my own. I don't need your help. I would like to have it, but I really want to be able to tell people what they need to hear.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get in my way, then you can just step aside and let me have it my way, because it's important that people know that. That's why we do this. I'm not making, a fluffy piece about a baseball player who stumped his toe. True. Or something. We're talking about real life situations and stuff that people might,
So what if you were doing a documentary on someone and they said like, well, no, that's not really what I was saying. Would that ever come up? Be like, you,
what if they say you twisted their words?
Yeah. Are they motives? There's like, yeah, you were saving kitty litter to.
Oh yeah, to saving kitty litter to poison the plants or something, even though they were trying to do something different. Well. So my take on that is there's people that do that for sure. Michael Moore is one of them. I've been reading reports about him and stuff, news stories, and apparently his storytelling is not completely honest at all. But that being said, for me personally, if you were to do that, let's just use that situation. You're like, I put kitty litter in my garden because it keeps the roaches out of it. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Well, that's cool. But then if we go down the road and then you give the food to somebody and they die because of the kitty litter, the toxins that got in from the cat poop or something, that's going to be talked about. Now, you could accuse me of saying that was my motive, but that's not the motive. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the story unfolded. That was you're filming the movie and all of a sudden this happens. Well, now we got to talk about this, Or you can even make the decision, do we put that in the movie or do we just eliminate the whole kitty litter thing and everything? And just not even talk about it one bit. And that's the decision you need to make. How important is it to you? Yeah. So
I've even in some of my podcasts, I've eliminated topics. I was like, yeah, what was I? Nah, let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Yeah, and and so you're doing the same thing. You're telling a story essentially. True. You know what I mean? I don't say anything that I know of that I don't really want to be said. You know what I mean? Because now you can't hide anything now because of the internet and social media, which we talked about earlier and stuff like that. So I try not to say anything that I really want to hide. Yeah. And I don't really have anything to hide anyways. My life's pretty boring.
Yeah. And even if it's you think now, once you get away from all the other games, what does it matter? I'm living my life.
Yeah.
It's
you're living your life, man.
Yeah. Me personally, I feel I'm everywhere. I'm with whatever the energy needs for me to be at that time, man. I just really appreciate life and knowledge. So,
and that's important too, and it's just keep moving forward, keep trying. Yeah. And depending, no matter what your field is, no matter if you're taking out the garbage for people, do it to the best of your ability and try and improve on it. There's nothing wrong with any job out there. And that's important for people to know.
Yeah, but it's nothing like creating though. So even in knowing that, because I'm with you on pursuing a job, but also going with a purpose, because you'll just pretty dull out. I was speaking to one lady before, and I was trying to tell her you know, if you're going to the same job and you feeling a certain way about it, maybe you going about your position, your role, like have a end goal. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing this job. Like you said taking the trash out, which is nothing wrong with that. Let's try to own a truck and let's try to get your own, you know, or be the manager to where you coordinating the routes, but not just this is the day to day.
But can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What makes Marqus?
My energy? You saying like far as
what makes you? Like if you were to die today, what would people say about you?
Yeah, I would say my energy, because I'm big on that, on being a positive, you know, energy, like, you know, because I want to be known for being a consistent, reliable source of positive energy. You know what I mean? From the good and the bad per se, how have you taken it? You know, because I am living though. But
they wouldn't say Marqus, he was a podcaster, he did this. So that's my whole point is don't identify yourself as your job.
Yeah, that's true too.
So like I do make films and I do advertisements for people and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to sit here and sound like I'm Steven Spielberg because I'm nowhere even close. But when I die, I'm Ben. I'm the backpacker, scuba diver, surfer, you know, bonsai grower, gardener, not garden director, but gardener, you know, husband, father, you know, that's who I am. Don't identify yourself as the trash man guy or the director or
the coach,
the CEO or the coach, or you know, don't identify your life with that because it'll consume you and you will be miserable.
Exactly.
And when you're in a job that you don't like, this is how I came to terms with the job I didn't like, by the way. You decide that you're not going to be, that's not who you are. You do your job. And then you focus on something else outside of your job. Maybe it's improving yourself like I did. I did my job and I studied cameras and storytelling for 3 years before I even left my job. So I just consistently studied and taught myself over and over and over, watched movies, watched documentaries, so on and so forth. So, you know, and then I found my passion, but it took a long time. But don't identify yourself with your job.
Yeah, man, I needed to hear that one too, because I just need to hear that one. And then we got to go. I got to go. I can't. Now I'm officially that guy.
He's got to do it.
Yeah. I got to go.
All right.
Man, time is everything. And I appreciate you sharing it with us here on the podcast, man. Peace and respect.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah.